Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. I would like to give a special thanks to Homestead Genesis for providing with the Genesis GV70. If you're in the market for a Genesis, you can come check out Homestead Genesis and ask for Nelson. He will get you into a new or pre-owned vehicle. But let's talk about the GV70 here. Looking at this exterior paint, Genesis calls this a Himalaya gray. It looks really good with the dark chrome accents, also with the gloss black trim here in the front fascia. But looking at these taillights here, they're going to come standard on all models of the GV70. They also have automatic low and high beam with an LED turn signal with an LED daytime running light. There's front parking sensors here. I love this large crest grille here. There's also a front facing camera because my model is the Sport Prestige, so this thing is fully loaded here. Looking at the top of the hood, there's the Genesis wing right there, front and center. Like I mentioned, I love this dark chrome trim with the gloss black accents. I want you guys to tell me what you guys think about the exterior styling here of the GV70. But looking at the side profile here, the wheelbase is at 113.2 inches with an overall length of 185.9 inches. So this is right on par with the other luxury compact SUVs in this segment. Looking at these tires and wheels here, these are a 255/40 Michelin tire. They're wrapped in this 21-inch rim design. I like the 5-spoke finish here. Also has that crest-like theme here in the actual rim design. This also has the Genesis brakes there. You can also get a red caliber if you would like. Me personally, I will go with the red caliber, especially with this gray exterior paint. That's this LED sight marker here on the mirror cap, and my model does have this large panoramic sunroof here, also with these aerodynamic roof rails to give it that sleek look. There's also some dark chrome trim here around the window wheels, as you guys can see here. And there's this very sharp body line that runs to the rear of the vehicle. But making our way to the rear of the GV70, looking at these taillights here, they're full LED with an LED turn signal and LED brake light. And the reverse lights live down here at the lower part of the bumper. And there's these large dual tip exhausts. There's also rear parking sensors. There's a GV70 badge right there. And I love that Genesis has their name spelled out. And this also has all-wheel drive, but like I mentioned in my previous GV70 reviews, it looks like a 4, so I think Genesis should fix that font there. And this also has that 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 underneath the hood. But to open up the cargo bag here, just press this button right here. And my model does have a power opening tailgate. Once it opens up, it reveals 28.9 cubic feet of space, and underneath here, Genesis does give you some underfloor storage and a temporary spare tire. You can also lay the seats down by pulling this handle here. Once you do that, the seats will fold down to expand the cargo to 56.8 cubic feet of space. Also, this small compartment here on the side with this LED light with this 12-volt right here. But overall, let's hop into the interior of the GV70. Before getting into the interior of the GV70 here, looking at the key fob, this does have a lock, unlock, a trunk release, and also a panic button. And you can also access the headlights here via this button down here. And this also has the smog park feature, so you can back in and out of a parking spot if you would like. There's also a remote start mode, but to engage the remote start mode, just lock the vehicle and hold the button down. And my model does have that 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 underneath the hood. But I'm going to show you guys how to use the actual smart park feature here. We're going to move this vehicle forward. Even with the wheel turned, the vehicle will fix the wheel for you, as you guys can see there, and the car will move forward. This also has a bunch of sensors, so this thing will not hit anything or anyone, and it will move very slowly, as you guys can see there, to be very safe. And you can also make the car back up. So like I mentioned, if you're in a tight parking spot, the car will move forward and back, so you won't ding your doors to get in and out of your vehicle. As you guys can see, it's moving very slowly. And like I mentioned, it is using the sensors and cameras to basically look to see what's around it. But overall, just walking up to the GV70 here, and I think that's a nice gimmick for the price that Genesis is offering. And Genesis does a sensor behind the door. As you guys can see, the mirrors will power fold out once the door is open. As you guys can see, my model does have this black interior with a nice white stitching and white piping here. And looking down here, there's your seating controls, also your lumbar support, and this does have a massage function because my model is a Sport Prestige model. But getting inside the GV70 here and shutting the door sounds pretty solid. As you guys can see, my model does have this 3D gauge cluster, but unfortunately the camera probably will not pick it up. And there's also this sensor here to watch your actual eyes. As you guys can see, it's lighting up purple, but the human eye cannot see that, of course, so the camera's picking that little light up there. But looking at the materials here, it's gonna be a nice leather material with a nice stitching, also with the aluminum trim. There is 2-person memory seats right here, and you can power fold the mirrors in via this button here. And you can also adjust the mirror controls there, and it is auto up, auto down for all 4 windows. And there's this carbon fiber like trim here on the door panel. It's going to be nice and padded here. There's more of that stitching. Over here is going to be additional storage and cup holder space. As you guys can see, there's the ambient lighting here. It's going to be a red, and you can customize that in 64 different colors. There's the trunk release button here with electronic parking brake. There's a hill descent control, your dimmer switch, your automatic start stop function, and also the traction control right there. And this is a power tilt and telescoping wheel. There is paddle shifters. There's the headlight and turn signal stock there. It does have this nice high quality feel to it. As you guys can see, my model does have this full digital display, so it will show you what's left and right of the vehicle in your blind spot. Once you signal right, it will show you what's on the right side, of course. And that's the wind wiper stock right there, which feels very nice to touch as well. There's some aluminum trim here on the actual steering wheel. There's the Genesis wing there. There's the scroll wheel here for the volume. There's a voice control here, which is touch sensitive controls. Over here is for the driver's assistance controls as well. You can customize this digital display here by using the scroll wheel here. I wish you guys could see this 3D gauge cluster. It looks really nice here, but unfortunately, the camera will not pick that up, but you can customize this digital display to your liking. Looking at the up part of the dashboard, it's gonna be a nice leather material with some nice stitching. And my model also has this heads-up display, which shows you very bright and very crisp. Looking at here at this infotainment system, there's a 14.5-inch display. It does support Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Looking down here, there's this touch-sensitive control panel. This does have 3-level heated and cooled seats. I wish Genesis would have offered buttons instead of this touch-sensitive panel here, but there are some shortcut buttons here. There's your hazard switch there. That's a wireless phone charger. My iPhone 12 Pro Max does fit in there. There's 2 USB ports there. You can close this if you would like. There's the parking sensors. This is also for the drive mode selector, which shows you eco, snow, also comfort, sport, and sport plus. It will turn off the traction control. As you guys can see there, the needle will glow a hot red. And yes, the sound is being pumped into the actual speakers once you have it in the Sport Plus mode, but you can turn it off inside the infotainment system by putting the vehicle back into its comfort mode here. There's a scroll wheel here for the volume and for the tune. There's a back button, home, and the menu button. You can also use this 14-inch display here by the scroll wheel down here, or you can actually touch it. As you guys can see, the touch response is just super fantastic. And like I mentioned, my model does have a massage function, and once you guys push this, you can basically get a massage, whole body stretching massage here, and it feels really nice. I actually tested out these seats before, very comfortable and very supportive. But switching the GV70 into reverse here, of course, put your foot on the brake and switch over to the left here. You guys are greeted by this backup camera, of course, very bright and very crisp resolution. This does have trajectory with distance marker, also with a top-down 360 view, and there is the embedded navigation here. You can also change that if you would like. So you don't have to basically see the map there. Clicking this icon here, as you guys can see, you can also look around the vehicle. So very good technology in this vehicle. So Genesis is killing it with their technology, of course. And switch it over here very gently to put it into neutral, and switch it again to go into drive. And you press P to go into park. I also love this glass crystal shifter here. There's 2 cup holders right there. Open up this, it does reveal a decent amount of storage. There's also a 12-volt in there. The seats, like I mentioned, they're supportive, they're comfortable, but unfortunately you cannot get a massage function on the passenger side. There's some aluminum trim here with the nice piping and stitching, and you can slide the seat forward and back to give this passenger here a little bit more space. The materials on the dash can be a nice leather material with more of that nice stitching. There's some aluminum trim here for the actual air vents. Looking at the glove compartment, it does have a large storage in there. You put a lot of items in there. Above me is going to be LED lights throughout the cabin, very bright LEDs. And there's a sunglass holder here. Our model does have this large panoramic sunroof, which kind of goes into the actual cargo area, and also has this dark tint to it, which I think is a nice touch. No other competitor in the segment offers that feature. But overall, I'm very impressed with the technology and also what Genesis is offering for this price here for the GV70. Getting into the backseat of the Genesis GV70 here, as you guys can see, I do have a lot of headroom here. I'm only 5'8". Even with this large panoramic sunroof cutout, it also has a dark tint to it, as you guys can see. But looking down here, Genesis says you get around 37.2 inches of legroom in the back seat. I also have plenty of foot space underneath the driver's seat. Looking at the door panel materials, it's going to be a nice leather with stitching with the aluminum trim here for the door handle and also for the speaker cover. There's the lock controls here with this carbon fiber-like trim. Down here, there's additional storage and cup holder space, and my model does have the Lexicon sound system, which sounds pretty good. There's also this manual sunshade here to block out the haters and also the sun. The headliner here is going to be a nice suede Alcantara headliner here. There's also LED lights throughout the cabin with this grab handle, and this panoramic sunroof does have a nice view, also with this dark tint to it. But looking over here, there's some controls, which is the 3-level heated seats, also with your own set of climate controls back here. There's also rear air vents here, and you can slide the seat forward and back to give this passenger here a little bit more space. You can't do that for the driver's seat, of course. There's some stitching and also some piping back here, and also like the suede Alcantara inserts here because it does have the 3-level heated seat function. I wish Genesis would have offered cool seats as well, but there's this large hump here. But you can fit a middle passenger here if you would like. But putting this armrest down here, it does reveal 2 cup holders and a nice area to rest your elbows. But overall, I'm very impressed with the space back here that you get in the GV70. Let's take a look underneath the hood here of the Genesis GV70. Genesis will offer this with 2 different powertrains. The base models get a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, which makes 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. If you guys don't want that powertrain, Genesis will happily sell you this 3.5 liter twin turbo V6. This makes 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission. As the GV70 sits here, it weighs around 4,400 pounds. Fuel economy for this V6 here is rated at 19 in the city, 25 on the highway, and 21 combined. You can only get all-wheel drive as of this filming. Genesis will be making a rear-wheel drive GV70 in the near future. So if you guys want that rear-wheel drive GV70, you have to wait a few more months or maybe even a year until Genesis brings it to the US market. And the GV70 can tow around 3,500 pounds. So starting off in the 2022 Genesis GV70 here, this rides on the same rear-wheel drive architecture as the G70, which is the sedan. So if you guys don't like cars, Genesis now have this compact luxury SUV here. If you guys are looking for that, if you guys, like I mentioned, if you guys don't like SUVs, and as you guys can hear, the engine is shut off, but you can defeat that by this button over here on the left hand side to turn off the automatic start stop function. And my model does have this massage here. As you guys can see, it will give you a whole body stretching massage, which feels really nice, especially with the cool seats on. And as you guys can see right here, hopefully you guys can see it, this does have the blind view camera. You can signal left or right, and it will show you what's in your blind spot, which is really good technology, and no other competitor offers that. But driving the GV70 here, my model does have that twin turbo V6 underneath the hood, and this thing will hustle. Some of you guys were saying where I was not picking a side when it came to the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Me personally, if you guys want to have more horsepower and more torque, I think the twin turbo V6 would be a really good option, because that 2.5 liter 4-cylinder only offers 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. The model that I have here, it does have that twin turbo V6 underneath the hood, which makes 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque, which is really good numbers here if you guys are looking for a powerful V6 in this segment. It's not faster than the Mercedes or the BMW products, but it's pretty decent to get up to speed. But let's do a launch here. I'm gonna put into a Sport Plus mode. Genesis give you this little toggle here, and once you put it in the Sport Plus, it does turn off the stability control. So I'm gonna hold the brake and gas. And Genesis says 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds. Do I believe them? Hell yeah, this car gets up to speed really quick. Even though this thing weighs around 4,400 pounds, this thing is not light. It's heavy, just like every other competitor in the segment, which is the Audi, the BMW, also the American cars as well. So the interior is gorgeous. Also the exterior styling is really gorgeous as well. Like I mentioned, this does ride on the rear-wheel drive architecture as the G70, which is the sedan to this car. And you also have a bigger sibling, which is the GV80. So if you guys are looking for something bigger to put your family in, and that also offers a 3-row, you have to get the GV80 if you guys want that. But the ride quality here feels very smooth, very compliant, and very plush as well. But I'm gonna put the car back into its comfort mode here. But the car is in its comfort mode here, and it feels even more softer. Even in Sport Plus mode, the car did feel soft as well. This also has an 8-speed auto. And the 8-speed automatic is really smooth. Me personally, I'm surprised that Genesis didn't put that dual clutch in this car that you get from the Sonata inline. That transmission is just super snappy, super responsive. This 8-speed is also responsive as well, but I think the dual clutch is even faster compared to this torque converter automatic here. My model also has this 3D gauge cluster. Unfortunately, the camera is not doing it any justice, but it looks really good. If you guys want to see the 3D gauge cluster, I would recommend going to your local Genesis dealership and see if they have this car in stock. And my model is the Sport Prestige model, so it's fully loaded with every single option that Genesis can throw at this car. And this also has a 14-inch display, which also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which you guys can see here. A very bright screen. I love the Genesis icons here. I like the bright icons, very big and very bold there in your face, which is really good. And I also have long arms, so I can reach. I don't have to basically bring the seat closer or bring it back or anything like that, because I can reach the infotainment system. So if you guys are short and you want to know if it's a really far reach, honestly, in my opinion, it's not far for me to reach basically. But this cabin is really up to par. The materials are very nice as well. The powertrain is very silky, it's very smooth. Like I mentioned, they do offer a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, which makes 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. If you guys don't want that powertrain, they will happily sell you this V6, which I highly recommend going for, because it makes more horsepower and more torque, and it feels more peppier compared to that 2.5 liter that I tested before. The driver's assistance, Genesis does offer lane keeping, lane departure, forward collision warning with pedestrian detection. Also a blind spot monitoring. Like I mentioned, if you signal left or right, it will show you what's in your blind spot or on your right side as well. So pretty good technology. Also with this big heads-up display, which shows you your sign recognition, also your digital speed in your driver's assistant. So if you guys are looking for a tech-rich cabin, also with a really good warranty and great capability, I would recommend going for the GV70 over the other competitors in this segment. Starting price here for the 2022 Genesis GV70 Sport Prestige is at $52,600 with the options and accessories, including destination. The GV70 here sticks for $64,045. Hope you guys have enjoyed this review here. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Drive1Reviews and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next review.